Well, they sort of went through this big to-do about getting the script to me. Normally somebody just puts it in a FedEx envelope and you get it, or actually most of the time these days they just email it to you, and you read it off your computer screen. But they went through this process of sending somebody all the way down to Australia with the script in a locked bag and all that sort of. So I was kind of like, oh my Lord. Anyway, but the same as all decisions I've ever made to do with a movie, it was what was on the page. It was significantly more complicated and actually more fun off the page than I expected it to be. So, and I think this, it's probably to do with being a dad and all that, but there's questions of sacrifice and stuff within the script, which I found kind of interesting. So I wanted to do it. Look, the only way I connect to it, man, is there was a 1950s TV show in black and white, and they would show that like every day of my school life. You'd get home, and that would be the only thing. That and Lucille Ball. So, but I never saw any of the movies from the 70s. I didn't see the Bryan Singer film, so I didn't have any feature film reference. Well, in terms of historically, he's a warrior scientist. He's sort of politically active on the planet that he comes from. But the society that he grew up with and grew to love and everything is disintegrated around him. Now you're in a situation where the story begins where, the planet itself is deeply engaged in a civil war. They've been damaging their environment by drawing from their core to the point where the planet's become unstable. I mean, in a situation in Krypton at this point in time where it's illegal to have a natural birth. If you want to have a kid, you have to apply to the government, and you have to choose one of 10 specific jobs that your child could have, or a soldier or a doctor or whatever. So for a man like Jor-El, that lack of freedom is something that he's incensed about, and it leads him to the situation that he has, where his wife and he embark on a very dangerous thing, of a seditious thing of having a child by natural childbirth, and then he's faced with the horrible choice of having those precious moments with his newborn infant, or sending that child to somewhere where he may have a safer life, but that's not guaranteed either, So it's quite a significant question he has to deal with. Oh, she was wonderful. She had a lot of heavy stuff to do. When you come into a room full of strangers and the first thing you have to do is give birth in front of them over and over again, take after take, and then immediately give up that child. It must have been a couple of hard days for her, but we got on really well, and we just got about our business. I mean, you sort of get pretty personal pretty quickly during a birth scene, Well, that was one of the things that really excited me when I read it, when I realized, we're actually going to be on Krypton, where the sun is 4 times larger than Earth's sun, and we're actually going to see that environment, which I'm not sure, apart from the graphic novels, has been done before, So I thought that was kind of exciting, and I thought, that element alone was a very new and different way of opening the story up for people. He is very demanding. And he's extremely exacting. His preparation is old school, David Lean-esque sort of preparation. But the thing about Zach, no matter what sort of pressure he's putting you under in terms of what he's asking you to do, the energy level on set is always fun, So you're not worried about how hard something is or how many times you've done it or whatever. You kind of, on a daily basis, you just want to please him because he's so enthusiastic, he's so deeply involved. And that's really, you want to be on film sets where the director is that way. You have to be, But he just personally is, he's like a little ray of sunshine, actually, and he manages to keep himself balanced and going forward, no matter how many pressures are on him, and how many things might not necessarily be going right for him in that moment, So he's quite inspiring in that way. I really enjoyed the time on set, actually. Well, I think the hardest battle for me in this whole experience was me versus one of my costumes. The the chamber, the council chamber costumes, those robes were actually very difficult to wear because you've got 4 layers of spandex, then you've got this big, huge thing on top, and then you've got this cape thing they stick in the back, which is actually leather. So it was quite a weighty costume. And then the fight sequence, the choreography required kicks and high blocks and all that sort of. And, some of those moves were actually impossible to pull off in a costume like that. But we managed to do a version of them. Well, I mean, I haven't seen the other films, but, I think straight out of the gate, you'd probably say he may well be the finest actor to have ever taken on the role for a start. So I think that leads the director to be able to deliver a more emotionally engaging Superman because he has that extra skill level. I think it's very definitely brought it, the imagery of it and the countenance of the character to, absolutely to a contemporary place. So Henry's a very graceful young man. He's sort of able to he's quite disciplined. He's able to deal with a lot. He has a good patience level. And I think all of those sort of things, all of the combined skill set that he brings, just brings on a Superman that you haven't seen, but it's more easy to believe in.